The afternoon sun poured warm light across Maplewood Park as children laughed, joggers passed by, and families spread blankets across the green grass. Daniel Carter walked slowly along the winding path with his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, holding his hand. To everyone around them, Daniel looked like an ordinary single father enjoying a peaceful Saturday with his little girl. His worn jacket, faded jeans, and quiet demeanor made him almost invisible in the crowd. Nobody could have guessed that behind his calm eyes was a man who had once filled arenas, fought under bright lights, and won national MMA championships before leaving that life behind after the tragic loss of his wife. Daniel had promised himself he would never fight again unless there was absolutely no other choice. Lily skipped happily beside him, excitedly talking about the birdhouse they had built together that morning. Daniel smiled softly, grateful for these simple moments. If you're enjoying emotional stories filled with courage, justice, and unforgettable twists, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss another inspiring story. As they reached the park's lake, Lily spotted ducks swimming near the shore and ran a few steps ahead before stopping to wave at them. Daniel watched proudly, but his peaceful moment was interrupted by loud laughter echoing from behind. 5 teenage boys, all much taller than Lily and nearly surrounding Daniel, slowly approached with mocking smiles. They looked to be around 18 or 19 years old, dressed in expensive clothes, carrying themselves with the confidence of people who had never been told no. The tallest one stepped forward and deliberately bumped Daniel's shoulder. "Watch where you're going, old man," he sneered. Daniel simply stepped aside and replied politely, "We're just trying to enjoy the park." His calm response only made them laugh harder. Another boy noticed Lily hiding behind her father and mocked her frightened expression. "Looks like Daddy needs protecting," he joked, causing the others to burst into laughter. Daniel gently placed a reassuring hand on Lily's shoulder and quietly told her everything would be all right. Inside, however, memories he had buried for years began surfacing. He remembered the roaring crowds, the training camps, the bruises, the championships, and most importantly the promise he had made to his late wife that violence would never define his future again. One bully grabbed the soccer ball Lily had been carrying and tossed it between his friends while she desperately begged them to give it back. Daniel took a deep breath and asked respectfully, "Please return the ball. My daughter just wants to play." The leaders stepped closer until their faces were only inches apart. "Or what?" he asked with a cruel grin. Park visitors noticed the confrontation but stayed back, unwilling to get involved. Several teenagers even pulled out their phones, expecting to record another helpless father being humiliated. Daniel lowered his eyes for a brief moment, not out of fear but out of discipline. He knew exactly how dangerous he could become if he lost control. Lily squeezed his hand tighter and whispered, "Daddy, let's just go." Daniel nodded gently, determined to avoid conflict at any cost. But as he turned to leave, one of the boys shoved him hard from behind, nearly causing Lily to fall onto the pavement. The laughter instantly grew louder. Daniel caught his daughter before she hit the ground, and for the first time, the warmth disappeared from his eyes. The 5 bullies smiled confidently, completely unaware that the quiet single father standing before them wasn't weak, wasn't afraid, and wasn't ordinary. They had just forced an MMA champion to make a decision he had hoped he would never have to make again. The next few moments would change every life in that park forever. Crystal Lawson felt the confidence drain from her face as the Defense Department officials explained that the contract announcement had been suspended. The decision had nothing to do with revenge, Marcus insisted, but everything to do with leadership. Calmly addressing the room, he explained that defense partnerships required trust, integrity, and respect for every individual, regardless of appearance or status. A company that judged people by expensive suits instead of character risked making the same dangerous assumptions when serving those who protected the nation. The officials confirmed that Marcus had recommended an immediate review of Titan Dynamics' corporate leadership before any agreement could continue. The ballroom remained silent except for the clicking of cameras and whispered conversations. Crystal attempted to apologize, insisting she had made an honest mistake. Marcus looked at Emma before answering. "Everyone makes mistakes. The difference is whether they're caused by misunderstanding or prejudice. His words struck the room harder than any angry speech ever could. Emma, still holding her father's hand, stepped forward and quietly said that all she had wanted was for her dad to see her receive her award. Several guests lowered their eyes in embarrassment. One elderly veteran stood and applauded. Within seconds, the applause spread across the ballroom until nearly everyone was standing. Crystal realized she had spent years building a reputation for business excellence while forgetting the simplest rule of leadership: treat every person with dignity. Weeks later, after an independent review, Titan Dynamics introduced major leadership reforms, mandatory respect and ethics training, and stronger community outreach programs. Crystal publicly accepted responsibility for her actions instead of blaming others. Marcus later supported restoring the contract after the company demonstrated genuine change rather than offering empty promises. The decision protected thousands of employees whose livelihoods depended on the project while proving that accountability could create growth instead of destruction. Emma finally received her award at a smaller ceremony where the applause felt far more meaningful because it came from people who valued character above wealth. As they walked out together, Emma smiled and asked her father why he hadn't embarrassed Crystal when he had the chance. Marcus replied that real strength isn't proving you have power, it's choosing how to use it. Months later, Titan Dynamics became known not only for engineering excellence but also for its renewed commitment to fairness and respect. Crystal often shared the story with young executives, reminding them that one moment of arrogance could cost years of trust. Marcus returned to his quiet life, grateful that Emma had witnessed something more valuable than a contract. She had learned that dignity cannot be taken away by humiliation, kindness is never weakness, and true leaders earn respect through their actions, not their titles. Long after the headlines disappeared, the lesson remained unforgettable for everyone who had been in that ballroom that night. Never underestimate the person standing quietly in the corner, because integrity often wears the simplest clothes. If this story inspired you, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more powerful stories of hope, justice, family, and unforgettable life lessons.